Hey, everybody, and welcome to Attempts at Governance episode. Hold on, this microphone's hot. Episode 159. And we got a big show with a lot of returning faces here on AAG today. So we're going to dive straight into the state of the Treasury this week. As far as stablecoins go, we're looking pretty good. Up 448,092 US dollars, bringing the stable chest to 9.3 million USD. And then, as far as DOT goes, we've had our burn, so we are down 1,408 DOT, which is worth about $4.66 million at today's market value. And that brings the DOT treasury to 21,801,083 DOT. That's the state of the treasury. I'll now throw it over to Funkatron for the state of the funk.
Thanks so much, Jay. The state of the funk is feeling fast, and it may be because I was on the attack bike this morning at the gym, but it also comes from the fact that we have a new ref from the man himself, Connor Daly. I know he can't join us today, but Andrew will be here to talk about it. And of course, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't have a minor technical hiccup. But I'm sure we'll get into that when Andrew gets to talk about it. But just excited to see Connor enter the arena again, and with a full year sponsorship up for grabs. So really looking forward to that conversation. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about this too. Thank you, Funky. We'll now throw it over to Limo for
You're muted,
referendum.
Jay.
Oh, what? Okay, yeah, I was just saying I'm excited to hear about this too. We'll now throw it over to Limo for referenda gone by.
Thank you very much. Not that many refs this week. That makes a change. There's only 12. So the first one is by Iceberg Nerds on the staking admin track, ref 1014. This was approved and it opens 7 new permissionless slots on the Polkadot people chain for collators. That's pretty awesome. Wonder if Lucky Friday is going to go for 1A Funky. And then we've got one by Giotto on the Treasurer track, ref 1013. This was rejected. It was to request 1 million dead meme coin as a tip. There was some technical issues with it, but I think those technical issues might have been fixed because the rate was set for dead, I believe, unless I dreamt it. Then we have a big spender from Max from Harvard Industrial Capital, ref 1029. This was rejected, and it was for 163,000 DOT for an investment conference series for Polkadot with a revenue share model. So we'll see if there's any adjustments to that. Then we've got one that was on last week, I think. This is Asset Portal on the medium spender track, ref 1035. This was approved, and it was for 31,000 DOT for Asset Portal Milestone 1. And Asset Portal is an asset management portal, as the name suggests, for Polkadot Asset Hub. So congrats to, I think it was Roko and some guys from the PBA, right? Then we've got All In Crypto, ref 1030. This was rejected. Very close. It was like 49.7% or something. This was for 12,500 DOT for 6 months of content from All In Crypto. So we'll see if they come back. Then we've got one that really flipped at some point. This is ref 1024 by Colorful Notion. This was rejected, and it was for 19,000 DOT for the Jam Zero event at DevCon in Bangkok. But the meta of Polkadot events is we might have a Sub-Zero now at the same time as DevCon, so it might make sense to join forces there. Then we've got Motif Network. They've been on the show a bunch of times. Nick from Motif, ref 1011. This was rejected. It was for 99,000 DOT for Milestone 2 of Motif, and it was asked to be voted nay. I think it's going back to the drawing board. Then we've got some big tippers. The first one is by Player Projects, ref 1095. This was approved, and it was for 1,900 USDT for Solidity Smart Contracts Tooling Research. These are the people that passed previously, but it failed to execute due to some issues, so it's good that it got passed the second time as well. Then we've got one from SimDot, ref 1084. This was rejected, and it was for 1,000 DOT for 6 months of work at Polkadot Peru and some international activities. And finally, we've got 3 small tippers. The first one is by Nikos, ref 1100. This was approved, and it was for 250 DOT for his work updating Polkadot.js apps with the Ambassador program related pages. Thank you very much, Nikos. I did ask him to do that, so I'm glad that you guys all voted aye to pay him. Then we've got ref 1088 by Oliver. This was approved, and it's an 80 DOT tip to Sorav for his work on PSVM. And finally, we've got Paul Blanco, Ref 1081. This was rejected, and it was for 220 DOT for examples on how to use ink in smart contracts. And somebody's mic is very hot and very loud, by the way.
Oh,
And now
there we
this
go.
ref got by.
Very, very good. Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much, Limo. Hold on, we're gonna let some people in. Hey, boys, 1 second from the other room. Let's see how we do here. Right. And where did you go? Okay, there we go. All right, let's get rolling on the show here. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to start with an update from the folks at Bash. Spencer, Miami, do we have you guys here?
Yeah, Miami couldn't join. My internet connection is very precarious. So
So far,
if
so
I
good.
am I cutting out at all,
You're
or am I
doing
all
good.
right?
Why don't we just roll right into the update here? You're looking good.
Sure, sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah, I just wanted to give everybody an update on what we're doing with Bash and what we've done so far. TLDR is that we've so far completed 3 events. We've onboarded about 5,000 new Polkadot wallets, which is really, some good news. We have another 2 events coming down the pipe. We have Mainnet on October 4th for their closing party, and Zebu Live in London, and that's going to be on October 11th for their closing party. So we hope to see the Polkadot community out for those events. Everybody that is a member of Polkadot and signs up through the bash.audio website is granted access, and anybody that's specifically building on Polkadot gets into all the VIP areas and stuff like that for both events. But just to give a little bit more, clarity on what we're doing, PMI, which is the Polkadot Events Initiative. I don't think everybody knows that PMEI is a BD vehicle to bring music industry onto Polkadot, and Bash is our live prototyping event. So it's like where we have a direct a direct relationship with the artists and build products for them. So we get their feedback, we figure out what they need, what their problems are, and before we roll those out to larger companies, we'll work on them in the context of those Bash events. Previously, I think what we've learned so far is that a lot of these events, bringing the rave to Polkadot, can be challenging because some people like hard techno, some people like house music, some people like reggaeton. You know what I mean? And it's hard to feed everyone's music tastes. And after speaking with a bunch of different people and getting feedback from the community, we're going to be continuing Bash events, but with the intention of actually flipping the script a little bit. So we're going to bring Polkadot to the music community in that sense. So still creating really great events, perhaps doing them around crypto conferences where there are crypto communities, but really just like pushing very cool Polkadot experiences within those events and bringing that within that, under that roof. So that's basically the update for that. Also, I know that we got roasted on the last proposal for Billfold and Radiate integration. There are 3 shadow nays. I don't know where you guys are at, but if you're watching, please give us some feedback because I don't know what you want, and I can't know unless you reach out to me. It's a great thing to have that power, but with great power comes great responsibility, and
Ooh.
I would love for you to know what you to tell us what we need to do to improve, because that's the name of the game. But we are going to resubmit. We're going to resubmit it's just Chaos DAO's fault. Fuck them, honestly. Even though they voted A. But we are going to submit in stables because that is something that makes a lot of sense. And Jay has been pushing for that, and we like that. The other thing that I think is important to note is that we're going to split it up. So it's not just going to be, or it's not going to be Billfold and Radiate together. We're going to do it individually, so it's a little bit more manageable. It's about a $1.1 million proposal in Stables. And we're cutting down the timeline a little bit so that we're focusing on what we can get done within a 4-month timeline. And then we'll come back and we'll handle Radiate afterwards. But the main thing is we're going to bring on those users, the reoccurring users, and it's going to add a lot of value to Polkadot. And we just want to be here to make it happen. So we hope for everyone's support. That's all I got. Back to you, Jay.
Thank you very much for the update, Spence, and we'll look forward to seeing that that spend proposal. Any idea when that new one's going to come in?
Well, we're waiting for an announcement this upcoming week, and once that announcement comes out, we'll put it up. So probably next week.
A teaser for an announcement. Thank you very much, sir. We'll see you very soon. Okay, let's roll into the presentations today. We are going to start with our friends trying to get to Polkadot at Slush 2024. So we are nearing halfway through the decision period and could go either way. I still see a lot more votes to come in here, but currently we're at around 41% in favor. Want to welcome Patricia. Who else is with you here today? Is Tommy here?
Tommy is not here. Daniel is
Daniel.
here.
What's up, bro?
We'll speak as well.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me, I have 10 minutes, right?
Yes, and the clock just started.
Okay, wonderful. So hi again, everyone. I am Patricia, based in Berlin. I only brought 2 slides for you today, right? One is about me, about my profile, and one is about the program or the intervention we're doing in the context of Slush. Our proposal has 30 pages, so I don't blame you if you haven't read it all. I've tried to sum it up in 1 slide because I think there's a couple of misconceptions about who we are and also what we're trying to do, right? So it's not an event, it's more an intervention that we do in the context of Slush. So let me share my screen, and then hopefully we have some time for Daniel to speak a bit and also some questions, right? So I'm trying to not speak more than maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Here we go. Can you guys see anything, what I'm sharing?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
You might just want, oh, there you go. Good job. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So this is me. So I've run into a couple of people here at the Web3 Summit that thought, we were all in events or so. This is not the case, right? So I am an experienced ecosystem builder for the past 12 years now. I've worked with some of the largest organizations in the world. So I've worked with the United Nations. I've worked with Google for Startups, with the World Economic Forum. And the red thread was always about building ecosystems, enabling startups, and doing bottom-up innovation, right? So I also advise a couple of actors in the space right now. So for example, the European Commission on startup grants. I still work with the United Nations. And then I have been in the Polkadot ecosystem for the past year as part of Project Liberty. So I don't know if you know Project Liberty, but they actually own Frequency, one of the parachains, and I was director of tech ecosystem programs with Project Liberty, advising them as an external advisor, right? I also founded 2 startups. One of them is an e-commerce that is profitable, actually, still selling. We raised money for this a couple years ago. And then finally, I founded my own advisory company. And with this advisory company, I am putting forward this proposal. So about me, then let me get to the next slide, which is the intervention we're doing as part of Slush. So by and at large, we are doing 4 things. So we are not organizing an event. We're doing something in the context of an event, which is Slush. So first of all, we are bringing 12 Polkadot networkers to Slush. And this is a very deliberate approach because we decided to not have a booth, but to have this kind of decentralized, community-driven, bottom-up approach to marketing, right? So this is a top-of-funnel marketing initiative. And a very heavy focus is on personal engagement. So we are sending the what we call networkers out there, the group of 12, with very specific targets, with very accurate ways and metrics on how to track their engagement, which we then hopefully will be able to collect in a CRM and hand over to another project or move forward with. So this is the first thing. It's very deliberate, and we decidedly wanted to do something that is not just a booth that we staff, right? The second thing that will happen there is an invite-only startup and investor event. I'm very aware that Slush is not a Web3 event, which is why we chose it. Maybe some of you have been there. It is really a very, very large tech and technologist event. And I used to work for a VC. I was head of platform for Innovexus Ventures in Paris. And I know that a lot of VCs are very interested, or might even have blockchain arms, and are interested in exploring more, but just don't know how to go about it, don't know what the opportunities are, etc. So there at this event, we're hopefully, once this passes, we will be able to identify a Polkadot investor and a startup, which will then speak there or give a short presentation in an interview style. Number 3, you see the investment opportunity deck. Part of what we're suggesting is to reach out and survey parachain projects, everyone building on Polkadot that currently is raising, so that once our networkers are at Slush, they're not just there talking about hypothetical use cases or whatever, but we have a concrete deck, maybe even a website of concrete investment opportunities. So parachains that are currently raising, or any project that currently is looking for investment, however small, we want this to be ready there so that funds, VC funds, if they want to, can deploy, right, and can invest in those. And then finally, point 4 is we are also taking part of in a side event, or we are proposing to take part in a side event where we can put together a Web3 panel. So it's not a Polkadot panel, it's a Web3 panel. However, 5 of our reps will sit on there, right? So it's not a pure Polkadot kind of advertising panel, but something that adds value, that's interesting, staffed by us. So one thing that has been criticized heavily is that we have very large, very high overhead cost. But I do ask the community to look at what we're suggesting here, which is just organization and management heavy, and takes also a specific kind of skill set. An event agency wouldn't be able to put together such a program, actually, that we have here. I see it's 6 minutes. Let me stop here and give Daniel the chance to add something, and then I'd love to also take on some questions and also feedback by the community.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you very much. I will just try to go very quick to kind of bring in the networkers and what we are trying to do with Slush in one specific event, and kind of tie it into the BD efforts, which I started on Polkadot Decoded, where we have a first meeting about 20 people, such as Destructive, Web3 Foundation, Parity, and different ecosystem teams such as Mandala, where we started to come up with the ideas of what are the problems, the pain points, and what we need to do, and that we need to build an infrastructure, how to connect the teams, how to bring together all the information from within the ecosystem, so we can efficiently put them to use on events such as Slush. And we did a follow-up on this Web3 Summit, where we, after establishing a Telegram group where we have around 60 members, so that we are not doing the Slush event as a one-time thing, but we really want to build a infrastructure around it, which will work closely with other ecosystem teams and projects to centralize our efforts a little bit in the decentralized ecosystem, so we can achieve as much with as little as possible. And now let's go for the questions.
Good stuff. Thanks very much, guys. So let's see. Bringing 12 ecosystem agents to Slush. You're asking for $112,000 here is the ultimate ask. I don't know if that seems high to me. Do we have any questions or comments for the folks here? Any concerns? Any risks we see?
I see one question in the chat,
Please go.
which I can address. Irina used to be part of our networking group, so part of the 12 networkers. She had to drop, unfortunately, for I don't know, personal or professional reasons. So yes, she used to be part of the proposal, but is no more.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Any other questions here?
We explained it so well that, you know,
Perfection.
just
No, it's always really nice to come in and share a little bit more about the main people behind a proposal. Sometimes that can help quite a lot. I think we'll go with Natalie first, and then Raul, let's go to you.
Cool. Yeah, I wanted to say that I actually really like the proposal, and it became really clear what you're wanting to do. That it's kind of a, how should I say, like a blueprint. You're kind of doing like a pilot with Slush, and usually what we see in ecosystems are these kind of like events in a box, but they often focus on almost more like the operational side of things. They're like, okay, that's a branding kit, that's this, and if I understood it right, what you're trying to do is to bring in like the knowledge to kind of, and the purpose to like, what are we trying to do here, and bringing in the right people, and the right like messages and activities.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully this will turn into a playbook for future interventions that are similar, right, of programs. That would be our hope.
Yes, Raul.
Thanks.
Thank you, Natalie.
Yes, hi. I just want to add something. I agree with Natalie as well on what she said. I'm checking on the milestones, and the first two milestones are preparation and planning, if I'm not mistaken. In general, and this is a personal opinion, I don't know what the panel thinks, but in general, for me, particularly preparation with the initial concept, information, budgeting, potential partnerships, and all of this, it's something that teams do before they present a proposal, so it wouldn't be part of it. I would recommend, in my personal preference, would be that the preparation milestone and part of the planning milestone is covered by something like an agency fee. I would say, I think it would be better understood, for me at least. I always find it weird when teams come to the treasury and they want to charge for exploration of possibilities of success of a project, right? So that should be covered by a fee, I think, by the team or something like this. That's my only comment on the proposal.
All right, do you want us to let go, Jay, or no? Because we're
No,
past time.
I see we're past time there, but why don't we give Patricia just a few seconds to respond there, and then we'll move on. Thank you, Punky.
Yeah, thank you. So look, Raul, I'd love to reach out to you afterwards because I'm not sure I 100% understand what you mean. What do you mean by agency fee? So you mean by a flat rate or by working?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I assume your team also needs to get paid for the work that they've done before, which is M1, right? And part of M2. So what I would reorganize the budget in that sense and check what other teams have done in the sense of flat fees for teamwork, and I would organize it in that way.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, that makes sense. So we do have a preparation. We have 5K for me and a bit more for Tommy because we spent weeks, believe me, putting this together and reaching out to all the vendors and making sure there's still this and that kind of supported / event, you know, all the various things that this is sure. I am not sure we can alter the proposal now that it's on chain, right?
I mean, you cannot alter the amount.
But we can rearrange the.
You could amend with a comment. You could amend that based on feedback. This and this and this has been reorganized.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the feedback.
All
Yeah, it is a
righty.
Google. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Raul. There are some questions in the chat which might be on the YouTube that might be interesting to look at, but for now we are a bit over time, so we're going to move on. Patricia, Daniel, thanks for coming on, and we'll see how this is going next week. In a similar vein, we have another event, this one in Australia. Ooh, pretty close to where I am right now. This is just for a little bit more, 116,000. Josiah, you want to take Polkadot to the Australian Crypto Convention, and we're going to give the floor to you now to explain what your plans are.
Hey guys, how you doing? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to share my screen. Bear with
Very
me
well.
for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'll just take it from top to bottom. So yeah, my name's Josiah Kotzer. I'm looking to apply for 116,000 US dollars to bring the Australian Polkadot booth to the Australian Crypto Convention. So yeah, just wanted to run through this pretty quickly. Essentially, it looks like we've had a pretty hard nay. I'm not too sure why at the moment. There's not too much comments in the feedback. But essentially, there's going to be 10,000 attendees. It's a pretty large event. Australia's got a very the highest per capita crypto holder. At about 20% of Australians hold crypto, so this is a very good opportunity to get some Polkadot exposure. Because at the moment, like I've been to two of these events in the past, and we've had no Polkadot exposure at all. Yeah, essentially, I've put down for a diamond sponsor. The diamond sponsor comes up with allows for 4 screens, 4 booths inside the one sort of capsule. This would allow for multiple Polkadot based teams to attend, similar to like the other events that you might have gone to. Yes, just to share and get more exposure from Polkadot based chains or projects in Australia. And yeah, this particular sponsor type allows for 45 minutes panelist position, as well as a 25 minutes solo position. So far we've got Subquery Metaverse Network, which is also BitCountry, D-Store, Oak Network, Talesman, who are all born out of Australia, I guess, like some of which are moved on to other countries, but for different reasons, tax jurisdictions and whatnot. However, they all did have a origin, but they started out in Australia. Then we got A-Star, which is close, Mandela Chain, and Subwallet. So essentially, we're just looking to increase the Polkadot exposure here in Australia. And I put this proposal to allow and facilitate this. There's an allowance for 4 projects to come at 5,000 USD each. One head ambassador. Since that's a relatively new position, I've made the allowance. I haven't spoken to any head advances just regarding the flights and everything, but I've just put down that allowance. 5K USD, I've used that from a past proposals for an allowance for traveling members, just sort of like a base fee. And yeah, I think I'm happy to move over to any questions. If anyone's having any questions.
All right, thank you, Josiah. Let's see. It looks like we have a question from Limo to start.
So go back up.
Hey, regarding the list of teams that are going to attend, I saw Oak Network. I had they like pivoted to a different ecosystem. Like I haven't really seen them in Polkadot for like years. Like I'm slightly concerned that some of the people that are going won't necessarily be the best people to talk about Polkadot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like they're just people that have said like, yeah, they're interested. That's more of who I'm aware of in the area. So that they've said it. So they're highlighted as teams that started out in this like in Australia. They're not necessarily ones that have been selected. So I've gone through and made the allocations for teams to for those slots for people to fill, but haven't gone through. But not until we get awarded the proposal will be then I'll go through and make those selections accordingly.
You probably want to update the ref though, because like for example, from my point of view, like it just seems like we're gonna fly people that are not in the ecosystem. So why would we spend money flying like non-ecosystem people? Like it's just like a foot point, right?
Sure. Yep. I mean, I'm happy to definitely amend that. Yep.
Good feedback. By the way, it's now Ava protocol, and they didn't leave the ecosystem, but they did expand to somewhere else, yeah, as well. Okay, let's go Ben, and then Batman. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, hi. So first of all, this really should have gone to the events bounty, first of all. You can actually save an awful lot of heartache by coming to the events bounty first, because we obviously deal with a lot of proposals, so we can give you some really good advice straight away to try and make your proposal more palpable. Even if we don't eventually approve it ourselves, obviously you can then try OpenGov afterwards. So some of the remarks I would have, really we should probably have gone with no higher than gold sponsor. People have this tendency to always go for diamond or like the highest possible tier. I think we need to be real with where we are in the market and dot, and maybe not on every conference that we attend splash out and try to, you know, be the big Billy. I think we can achieve the same impact with a much smaller sponsorship on many of these. A lot of the budget is on flights and travel, and that really needs to be cut down, especially if you are speaking to teams that are based in Australia. It seemed kind of odd that you'd spend so much on them traveling within. And also the costs for the filming and photography side seem quite high. Quite a few proponents make the same mistake. They want to obviously capture the event, which makes sense, but ultimately the impact is at the event itself, not what people can watch afterwards. So I would suggest lowering that as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so the reason for the diamond was mainly about the having multiple teams in that booth. But I mean, like it's fine to reduce that. I mean, like to make a comparison, the Mandala event was 3 times the price with 40% less exposure for the event. So, and there were like some really substantial things. I mean, I know there was a large portion was for a hackathon.
Do you mean the Mandela event that we're at right now?
Sorry, not the Mandela event. The what is it? CoinFest Bali event. Sorry, I apologize for misuse of that thing, but the proposal was from that area. But yeah, not just trying to yeah, bring reference. That's also where I based the track from. So if there's a better track being the events bounty program, I'm happy to take that feedback, reevaluate, and push in that direction.
Yeah, to clear that up there, was that you, Ben, who asked? Yeah, Mandela. This was for a booth at CoinFest, a hackathon, and also their own conference that featured many people from the government coming together on stage and discussing how badass it would be to use Mandela. Okay, let's go Batman here.
Yeah, hi. So I'll just preface this by saying that I'm generally skeptical of events that propose exposure as the value proposition, right? And adding on to that, like the concerns that Limo as well as Ben have, it just seems to me that maybe you have applied a bit prematurely, maybe where the attendees are not entirely set in stone. It just feels to me that you need to do a little bit more research into the ecosystem before like coming on with an ask this big for an event. So that's really my only comment.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like that's fair. I think it was more of like a time thing. Like I can't, like I'm not creating the time that this particular event's on. So to bring that forward, allowing the 28 days for the proposal to go through, to get the slot, to make the payment, all that sort of stuff. It had to be fast tracked. Yeah.
Okay, I'm really liking this, all these questions and comments here. Natalie, why don't you finish us off here?
Yeah, also, actually what Batman said, I would also suggest to think about the strategy, and we're like all for like targeting and strategy in marketing, and I think the proposal could also benefit from highlighting like what are the audiences you're trying to reach. Is it more enterprises? Is it that you're trying to get infra or expand the ecosystem? Is it, when it's exposure, is it really kind of the end user? And then thinking about who to fly over to demonstrate what. I think that could be like a strategy that would be concise and could show a little bit like one level deeper than just exposure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that. I'll definitely consider that, and I will, based on these this feedback. I really appreciate it. I'll pursue the events bounty because it looks like that's the way forward.
Payout could be a bit quicker too. Is that right, Ben? Through the events bounty than through a ref?
Yeah, so from the last events bounty, like the biggest criticism was the speed. So now we're like really fast. So we touch everything within a few days to a week. Sometimes we'll have additional questions, but we tend to try to get an answer within like first or second week, and then obviously pay out from then. Obviously, at the moment, there's 8-day delay in actually getting the bounty released after we raise it, but after runtime upgrade 1.3, that'll be gone. So we save another 8 days on the funding.
Alrighty, great. Thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. Well, thanks very much for that and for your time.
Thank you very much for coming on and presenting this idea, Josiah. And yeah, hope to see you at a new and improved version soon.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, Luca's in the chat here saying he'd love to see some Polkadot exposure in Polkadot. And Luca's, nice to meet you today. Wasn't that a banger event? Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow as well. Ben mentioned being fast there, and of course, the events bounty is fast, but nothing is quite as fast as Connor Daly. And we have Andrew Stallings on the chat here to come with the next. He's going to bring the relationship. Him and Connor are going to bring the relationship with the Treasury to the next level with the 2025 Polkadot Motorsports program with Connor Daly. Andrew, welcome back to the show. Nice to have you here. Where's Connor?
So Connor's actually on a plane about 38,000 feet above. I think when I just tracked his plane, he was above the state of Washington, going down to Oregon. So we are racing in Portland, Oregon this weekend for the IndyCar Series. As some of you may have seen, he's had the distinct privilege that have come from opportunities like partnering with Polkadot to demonstrate and benefit the skills on track. Junko Tollinger Racing has fired one of their drivers to bring him in to finish out the season. So, so he's going to be in Portland, Oregon, and he is very, very sad to not be on here because as much as he loves having me talk about the hard stuff, anytime that we're reintroducing something fresh and new to the community, he very, very much wants to be at the forefront of it. So we will discuss a little bit about that, about opportunities to kind of communicate with the community a little bit more on that as well. But Jay, thanks so much for the intro. Funky as well, as always. Appreciate it. There's a couple key things that I want to call out. For those of you that have had probably the distinct pleasure of looking at our 27-page referendum that has been put together, a lot of thought, a lot of listening, and a lot of attention to detail has gone into this from several different layers of the community. Nothing, as we know, in this ecosystem or in life is perfect. We certainly know that we are up against some critical timing as far as the economic value of this, going from arguably a 3x spent from what our original referendum was. But I very much think that everything is laid out very cohesively as far as a very detailed and well built out budget that shows full transparency into where all funds are going and the value return of each of those line items. With all that being said, I want to just be crystal clear on the sense that we have had several conversations with numerous conversations with similar stakeholders, as well as a lot of people that I have not even had the pleasure of meeting over the last few months, just in these last few weeks, to address what is the most appropriate way to approach the Treasury with a spend like this. Is it stables? Is it going all in on DOT? And I think the verdict and jury is still going to be out in a lot of ways. But the ultimate decision was for us to at least approach this with an open mind, and you will be able to see that anything over 2% of the value spent back, we are going to give back to the Treasury. No one here is trying to get rich. We have been fully transparent with our spends to date, and we want to continue to do that. As far as this new program goes, the main call outs that are just going to be important for you to understand is that the full-time NASCAR season offers up 33 unique opportunities in key metro markets across North America. As you can see, the data provided in that referendum, folks, has data specifically from some of the biggest data and intel providers all over the world, as well as from NASCAR specifically. A lot of those key value points sure can be called out as, oh, Stallings, that's really cute. That's brand awareness. That's a vanity metric. That's fluff. That may be true to some degree, but what that does as an entry point for a lot of us gets us into what we call the country club model of motorsports. And it brings us in so that we can have conversations with the likes of Toyota, with the likes of VBrick, with the likes of Cyclone Renewables, and that there are over 10 ongoing conversations that are over the 50-yard line that have substantial B2B value that I am already happy to explain more in detail on. The one specifically laid out in the referendum is the one about the integration with VBrick, that we already have an MVP model that could potentially even be proposed to Amazon as early as October in Indianapolis. There is a lot of stuff that goes far beyond sports that Connor, myself, Chris, and everyone involved promised to this community since day one that we wanted to do right. There's going to be a lot of comparison to us and other big sports marketing spends. That's fair. That's fine. The apples to apples difference is that we want to continue to listen and we want to understand what some of those value prop questions and concerns are going to be and use this as a vertical to enter into those points and address them accordingly. If you can't read through that referendum and see that every single thing has been addressed accordingly, then please come tell me. I want to hear it. I want to hear your criticism. I want to hear your backlash. I'm an open book. You want to put me on forums. You want to put me on spaces. I want to hear it. With that being said, I do encourage all of you to at least read it. It's long, it's lengthy. I apologize. My ADD itself took forever to write it, but it is something that just comes from a place of listening over the last 6 months. I wish that we could have done it sooner when the token price was higher. I hope that that's going to turn around in all of our favors. But all this to be said, it's something that opens up a brand new opportunity with the likes of doing an elevated sports marketing and entertainment focused hackathon event with the likes of our partners at EZA. It's an elevated integration program with the likes of Unique Network and doing a very strategically identified Connor Daly Insider Pass with a reward system that can be deployed internationally. And we want to, specifically listening to a lot of people talking about the wallet sign up as a main KPI metric. Both race teams at Dreyer and Reinbold on the IndyCar side and Sam Hunt Racing are already working strategically to figure out what is the biggest bang for the buck at racetracks every single weekend so that we can enable and also reward different customers and fans in both motorsports categories to sign up and get a wallet. That's what's the easiest point of entry. So all of it is something that, again, it's not going to be rocket science. Is it perfect? Is it a lot of money? Waving the flag, admit it. But the transparency there is that it's a 10% discounted price on the NASCAR Xfinity Series program. Typically, those run for $5 million plus per season with the top teams. As many of you all probably saw with Sam Hunt Racing, we ran top 10 all day. First time Connor's been in a car like that. We can do that all season. We can go win a championship. So that's going to be something big. The next thing, too, we saw with Connor Daly in Indianapolis, we started from the back and came all the way to the front and led 22 laps in one of the biggest motorsports races in the world. Same team, want to do it again. So there's a lot of things there that kind of tap into it. I'm looking at the clock, but I at least want to in detail there. So I'll shut up and kind of allow a few minutes for questions. Otherwise, I'm happy to talk about this offline. Funky and Chris, though, I think we do need to address, it wouldn't be a Connor Daly party without a tech issue. So if you want to explain, again, what has happened and what's transpiring, you can probably put it in better detail than I can.
Yeah, before we go there real quick, I want to compliment you and Connor. I led this horse to water. You guys didn't promise anything other than putting a race car on a track this year. And like you just stated, you've obviously done a lot more than that. The two things I'm most proudest from is what you hit on is when we were talking with the NASCAR team, like they are the only Toyota Racing Development NASCAR team. And Toyota went and did a little homework. I don't know if we're supposed to share this or not, but they came out and said there was 2 blockchains that they would partner with, Polkadot being one of them. I thought that was cool. There's a big enterprise video platform that through Connor's relationship, he brought this deal to the table, possibly. Relationships with the CEO. They have a big enterprise video platform. They wanted to do digital rights management. As far as the tech issue goes, the proposal was submitted using the Treasury Spend call, not Treasury Spend Local, which Treasury Spend's been retired. So gonna have to go redo this thing.
Ooh. All right. Well, look, we love it. Okay. In fact, it's kind of nostalgic, but this is exciting. You know what I think this is going to be about? These kind of partnerships that you hinted at, all these things in the works. I think we're gonna have to tease this out over the coming weeks and just find out exactly how exciting those are. We have about 1 minute and a half left. Hope, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I think we've seen a lot of wonderful benefit coming from Connor. I want to say that up front. Right now, my only question, and I have to read through it thoroughly, based upon the price of DOT, would installments of this to lead up to it be a consideration that you guys may think about?
Good question.
It's a great question, and one that we've actually vetted. The risk assessed with that is one that is a pretty large one to take on for my agency, in the sense that if I knew from a guaranteed standpoint that we could put up a ref quarterly, biannually, monthly, whatever it is, with a guaranteed approval, I think it'd be a different story. The problem is that there's always that risk, and you don't know that it's going to be a guaranteed push through every time. So unfortunately, it isn't something that is even close to a 90 to 95% guarantee. This community has not let me down to date, and they've done an incredible job of backing and standing up against, the adversity that we've taken on. But it is a pretty insurmountable risk when, if one of those refs doesn't get passed through, who's on the hook for the difference of $6 million? That's me. And I love my house, but it's not that big.
No, completely understood. I don't think that maybe that's what I was suggesting, but I appreciate that feedback. And I think maybe we can take that feedback back and look at, annual payments of a way to guarantee it. So thank you.
Sure.
We're at time.
Thanks very much. Okay, well, I guess we're going to be talking about this for a few weeks. Definitely a meaty spend, as some people in the comments are pointing to. But this is a relationship that has really blossomed over the past partial season that we've done. And it'd be obviously great to keep Connor on as an ambassador for Polkadot. But, we'll have to see how we can work this out in governance. So, Andrew, thanks for coming on and introducing this today. We'll look out for the resubmitted ref, I guess, next week.
It's classic, isn't it?
So classic. Good stuff. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we have last minute addition to speak about. This is our friends at the Dots magazine. Keeping it light, making us laugh, and having a good time. They're coming in for their second proposal. This one for 38,980 USDT. And what are we, about a week in here? And ooh, we're struggling. 20% in favor, but only 30 million DOT at play. I want to welcome the guys from the Dots magazine to the show. Welcome. Guys, what do you want to say?
Yeah, thank you for hosting us. Hi, everyone. So my name is John, and we are running the Dots magazine. Maybe some of you are already familiar with our content. Like, we are trying to do the viral meme content about Polkadot and like educational stuff combined with some humor and like tech stuff. So long story short, we are the first Polkadot non-nerdy meme media.
Hey.
So we just a mantra. So we just started our journey as a Polkadot enthusiast, and we decided we would just think, okay, Polkadot is so cool. Polkadot is so like high tech stack, but it lacks of DGen stuff. It lacks of meme. It lacks of this meme driving force, which is like moving the whole crypto to forward. So. As Jay said, this is our second proposal. The first proposal, it was on Kusama OpenGov. Yeah, it's like 6 months passed. And the funny story was with the proposal when we received the funding, and Kusama dropped 31% at this price at the moment of publishing proposal. So yeah, so we didn't ask for any top ups. We didn't submit a second referendum or something like this. So that's why we're asking for USDT right now. So to avoid all this stuff, and like we're just moving forward with a passion and like, okay, like life is life. Let's move on. So now we are here, and like if some of you haven't seen like uh, our stuff, like check out the referendum 1091. There are some iconic memes and iconic videos that we've done with Gav and like with Vitalik and some fun stuff, like with some like movies. And so yeah, so this time we wanna emphasize like we wanna we wanna put some funding to our brand development. Also, it's included on like paid promotion on X, and like 25 or roughly like 30% of the total funds that we are requesting are going towards like brand development, paid promotion, and like the unspent funds of the allocation is going back to the treasury. So we are not sure how much it's going to be, and like so yeah, hi Ben. So yeah, so like we want to emphasize that, so like 25 or 30% is going to be on paid promotion and brand development. So yeah, what else should I mention? So yeah, on top of that, we would like to provide monthly reports on Polka Assembly, like with a breakdown of all costs that we're gonna like spend, including the like AI tooling, all this stuff, software. So because like it's all about like there is no fixed price, so you need to pay credits and all this stuff. So it depends on the like content and amount of content, like amount of iterations and whatever. Yeah, some of the concerns that we had from the community is that we don't have much followers on our X account, but we'd like to mention, so we don't buy any traffic, we don't buy any paid subscribers, any bots or whatever. So it's all organic, and like we've got like all this stuff floating like really fair, and we don't want to disappoint the community. So yeah, basically that's it from my side. We've got the proposal running, we've got all our content published on X. We are very dedicated and very passionate about the ecosystem, and we're really happy to be here. So, and my friend Mantra, do you have anything to say, Roski?
Yes, hello guys, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I want to apologize for my English in advance, but let's start. Based on recent Lunar Strategy report, their marketing campaign had 48, almost $49 CPM. CPM, it's cost per 1,000 views.
Wow.
And let's compare it to our results. We have gained 3 million views over the last 6 months, and also we received $6.9 thousand from the treasury. That means that our CPM is $2.3. It's we are 21 times more efficient than Lunar Strategy campaign, guys. It's amazing. It's amazing numbers. We are like gods of marketing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And let's do another napkin mess. In the worst case scenario, we expect that we only double our number of views from 3 millions to 6 millions over the next 6 months. And according to our new budget, it will be about 6.5 CPM. That's, in our opinion, it's really decent number. It's really good CPM. So let's move to the another point. as John mentioned before, some of the community members can say that our budget is way too big compared to our number of followers, but we rely only on engagement, on views, on likes, on retweets, and not on amount of our followers. As soon as we can produce, as soon as we're able to produce good content and it has potentially large outreach, our content will go viral. That's how algorithms work, and it's the key of our work. So guys, our budget is evaluated only on our future work, which isn't as easy as looks at first glance. And at the end, I want to say, guys, that we need help from our lovely community, and especially from delegation voices, that they still mostly haven't voted yet. And because we were recently named with 20 million voting power by Anonymous Whale, we are really cooked right now, guys, really cooked. So analyze our data that we provide, do due diligence, and vote as you feel appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. Okay, let's go to Funky.
Thank you, sir. Really glad to have you guys on here, meet face to face for the first time, and just wanted to offer some support and encouragement. I just changed my vote, honestly, inside the Lucky Friday Discord. So one of the things that I would say, don't be too concerned about having a small follower count. Elon, the X company, is constantly tweaking the algo, and I don't know if I may have mentioned this before, but I was one of the community leaders in NFT God, who's now just doxed as Alex Finn. He's sort of the guy who's constantly always talking about the algo and how to be most effective with it. Follower counts do not matter. That used to be a big ding. Really what matters most is time on content and looking at your profile. So if everybody wants to help these guys, the first thing they should be doing is just literally looking at the content. If the video is a minute long, watch the whole minute. We have a terrible attention span problem just in general. Also visit the profile regularly, because that is going to start suggesting it. For those of you who have followers who are maybe outside the ecosystem, that's the way that's going to help penetrate and actually get this outside. Because I feel like at this point, as much as I love the lols, it is still pretty much somewhat confined to all of us who are here in the DOT ecosystem. But I do believe that the content you're creating is very high quality, and it will punch through if we can continue to help you as fans, if you will. So I just wanted to offer that as some encouragement and just a point of data.
And some of these bangers have punched through, actually. You know, I was playing them while you guys were talking there. And yeah, some of those numbers are looking good. Let's go. I think Daniel, go.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, love the account too. I interact pretty much with every single post. I love all of them. They really go into the right point. But I just wanted to ask, because we just at the Web3 Summit, me and Rosja from Pluto, he actually coded a tool for airdrops for everyone, and like the basics for it. But if you guys, as the degens here in the ecosystem, are you planning on some Web3 activations to go with the account, and maybe like showcase the tools we possibly can have?
Yeah, that's a good question. So as part of our brand development stuff, we would like to launch a mascot. We would like to launch like some of the our own style, like mascots, designs, and all of this stuff. So yeah, that is the plan. We don't want to go into like meme coins or something like this right now, because as we feel a lot of responsibility about it. But we definitely we'll do like some Web3 stuff in future for sure.
Great. And
thank you.
It looks like we're at time here, but Ben, if you have something super quick and bullish to say,
Yeah, I was just going to say I'm a big fan of the account. I like that the content is not your typical, because we have a lot of thread ors, we have a lot of update ors, we don't have many meme ors, and I think they're usually quite on point with general CT topics at the time. So I think accounts like this are actually pretty important for, as you say, breaking out of the bubble, because it's relevant topic, and also self-deprecating humor sometimes actually can help people to realize, like, if you recognize your own failings and you sort of make fun of them, then sometimes that can sort of endear others to you, and sort of then they'll be more willing to listen and find out what you're actually about. So
yeah, thank you. At the end of our speech, I would like to add, so we are not asking for any funding from the Parachains team. We don't accept any offers from in our DMs about promoting any suspicious stuff or meme coins or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're just fully community driven, and like we're just seeking your support, and we will never ask for any funds except of treasury. So, and we are completely non-biased because of it. So yeah, thank you so much.
That's a really strong point. Okay, thank you guys for coming on. I wish you the best with this, and I love seeing you on the timeline. Thanks, thanks for all the work. Okay, we're gonna round out this top-heavy events and media promotion AAG with the Modern Market Show headline sponsorship of 6 months. Funky, you've been talking about this a lot, and this is 120,000 for 6 months of funding. That's right? Yeah, 6 months of funding. Hasn't really got traction here, actually. Seems like people are fairly against the ask here for a new relationship with the Treasury. Is it just you here, or
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, and I won't take the entire time.
Oh, okay.
BTech could be here due to a conflict. He's actually in the process of moving, so he asked like where he would be in the pecking order.
Oh,
And when
okay.
he wouldn't be able to be here, so I just wanted to just chime in for a couple minutes as a proxy. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Law McShiz, aka Doc Holiday over here. He has actually shown up to the show a few times now. And this is something that I would encourage everybody. I've said it multiple times. Just please join the show. If you're available, even if you can't participate, put it on the background. Listen, it's a great all-in-one sort of Web3 news roundup that happens every weekday. The other thing I was going to say, and I know Murphy, if you're watching, I do owe you some response because I appreciate your comment, and I will get to that probably after the show today. But some things that I just want to kind of take a minute to talk about because I didn't get a chance to really talk last week about it. First and foremost, I apologize. It's probably my fault for not suggesting that we go forward with the discussion first, right? And this is the conversation we've been having in Chaos DAO lately. You know, like we've kind of gotten away from having the discussions before they actually go up on rest. Part of that was just because we were having, you know, it was all around the time of the people chain migration. I was trying to help BCheck get his ID verified, so on and so forth. So that was probably on me in terms of not having the discussion to get that feedback ahead of time. Jay, it did enjoy your suggestion from Monday's AAG when you said maybe coming back with a smaller ask, and they are open to that, maybe doing something shorter, more targeted. Like I said, on Monday, they had a very specific segment on Say that then I saw people tweeting about Say after the fact. So that's something that, you know, they're amenable to as well. But I just also want to say in the same breath that, you know, we talk a lot about social reputation here in the Polkadot ecosystem. I've been here for over 4 years. I feel like I'm a very good community member. I'm trying to be an ecosystem agent and everything else. And so I was a little, I'm not going to lie, somewhat disappointed at the way that there was a lack of feedback, that there was not a single other eye besides my own. And the reason I say that is a couple of reasons. It's multifaceted. One, as most of you know, I was an educator for 20 years. After I left the classroom, I was also a recruiter for about 2 years before I went full-time as the director of protocol relations at Lucky Friday Labs. If nothing else, I have a very, very, very honed ability to spot talent, right? Jay, you probably remember very early on when you were making videos before you were docs and I was up in your DMs like, man, I love how much you do your stuff. What the fuck, you know, like all the stuff you were doing way back in the day. I was very much, and I'm an encourager of others.
You do know
so I've been
talent when you
listening
see it.
for like almost a year at this point. Now I'm a regular panelist. I'm on the show almost every day to try and contribute to the conversation. And this is what I see in BCheck and Legendary. Much like we look at the explosive growth of the Koos and you over the last like 2 years, especially. I saw a tweet this morning from Quentin, and I'm sure you guys know him, very old school Bitcoiner. And I want to read this, and this is where I'll kind of just cap the conversation for today, because this is what I also feel is going to happen to the modern market over time. And this is why I'm such a huge proponent of trying to get them to be, have us sponsor them. But this was a very telling post from Quentin. He says, ever want to give up? Remember that by the time Mr. Beast uploaded 100 videos, he only had 400 subscribers. At 200 uploads, he had 1,800 subscribers, and it took him over 3 years. He now has over 311 million subscribers. Sometimes good things take a long time to build. And this is why I was so really just a strong proponent of trying to give them that funding that they require, because they want to grow the brand and make it better. So at the end of the day, I'll leave it there. B-Check will be on next week. He was deeply apologetic for not being able to be here and engage with the community. So I just wanted to pass that message along as well. But I'm hoping that more people will tune in and hear what I hear and see what I see on the timeline, because I really feel these guys are going places, and I would love to have Polkadot supporting them and having a mutually beneficial relationship over the long run. And Batman, I have a question.
Yeah, it's not really a question as much as a comment, really, because like Fungi said, right? Like I've seen the modern market show. Like it's been a few months, but like I've seen it, and I actually quite like the show, and I think he's absolutely on point about things taking time to build, and I do feel that that is one of the shows which can become something like Ecosamarian, perhaps in a more generalized context. The only problem that I have with the proposal really is the price, right? Like I feel that it is a bit too steep. I mean, if you offer us a 50% discount on this, I would be happy to buy the proposal. But yeah, like that's really my only comment.
I appreciate the feedback, brother. Really, thank you so much, and thank you, Jay, for giving me time.
Yes, thanks for coming in. Yeah, it may just be the approach, not the content whatsoever. We'll have to see. We'll welcome them on the show next week, and hope we can continue to develop this relationship. Because yeah, it seems like a good one to have in some capacity, and I'm sure we'll get there. Thanks very much, Funky. Mr. Christian, thank you for waiting, and it's nice to have you back on the show. Before we put the timer on, I want to ask, did you invite Jordi Casanova?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, let me bring them in, because you know with you guys,
I
I just
know.
want to be extra careful who we let in the room here, you know.
Oh yeah.
So Jordi, do accept that invitation to come over to the next room, please. All righty, okay. Hey Christian, welcome back. It's been a minute, and here you are with the improved proposal from Chainalysis. We took a look at this last week. No discussion. We just wanted to see what was going on here. Now 3 payments of 2.17 million USDC, and we're now halfway through the decision period. 62.8% in favor, and getting close. We're at 81 million votes. Sir, I want to give you the floor. Thanks for coming back to the show, and why don't you tell us what's happening now with Chainalysis?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. I can see some new faces here as well. So thanks for being patient and allow us to resubmit this proposal. Apologies for my English. It's not my native language, but hopefully you will be able to understand me well. Right. So, well, for those that are new in this history, right, and, we started back in March with our first proposal. I think that we have learned a lot about the, community, way to work, different groups that exist within the community. Also, we also grab a lot of feedback from the previous proposals as well. So we're really happy and proud to be with you back here. We tried to make this new proposal a little bit more aligned with what, let's say, the needs and requirements from the proposal came to us through the first proposal we did. I think it was anyway good, because we brought in front of the community a debate about compliance, right? So what's this something that we really need or not? There was different groups. We felt ourselves a little bit in the middle of discussions in between a couple. But at the end of the day, that didn't pass, but we learned a lot. So with that in mind, what we've done is we try to build, first of all, I think that on the previous AAG, George explained, why this exists and why we were kind of coming back, etc. Well, I think it's also worth it to say that we've also learned that we needed to get closer to the needs. So first of all, we try to understand from different groups within the community what was the priority, right? Because we try to understand first, okay, what is it the priority for the community, right? So they came back to us and say, guys, after our analysis, we think that the priority for now for us would be to try to go after financial institutions that are pointed out this kind of new financial products called ETF, like we know this Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF, etc. And they made their own research. So it wasn't us. They made their own research. They talked to different banks, different financial institutions, and they came up with a list of different requirements. Within that list of different requirements, there was one. This is called compliance, right? And they spoke to several banks, and they found out that chain analysis was like the most used solution, right? So okay, we say, okay, let's see how we can make this more to accommodate that better for the community. We started, if you remember well, it was like a 10 million USD proposal. Then we, in the middle of the discussion, we swapped that to 1 million dots. And now we say, okay, at the time we made this 1 million dot proposal, dot was 6.5 more or less on value. So let's lock the value on 6.5 USDC, right? So it's good for both. We know what we're going to be paying. You won't be paying more, you won't be paying less.
Nice.
But also, let's try to align these through the feedback we receive about, I remember it was about, okay, can we do this like in phases or something like that? So I took this personally, internally in the company, escalate this to the finance people. You guys will have to understand that we are a company, we have finance, legal, and all that stuff. So I have to go through all this bureaucracy to get everything approved. And they say, okay, what we can do is do installments. So we can split this because this project is 3 years software as a service solution for you guys. We split this into these 3 installments, right? So then you get payment on year 1, year 2, and year 3. And then after we say, okay, what else needs to be adjusted here? We also went through adjusting to what we are looking to trace. So we say, okay, what are institutions looking to understand about the ecosystem? So if they're going to create an ETF, they're going to create an ETF about DOT. So we want to trace DOT across every single place it goes. So the proposal focused first on the main parachains that where DOT travels. Those are, I believe, about 5. Don't remember all the names, but of course, Relay Chain, Hydration, Moonbeam, Asset Hub, and Asta. These also this information came to us through parity data, through some conversations and exchange of information. So we also work along through parity data to understand this well. So that gave us a phase 1 where we're going to go through providing clarity and visibility about traceability of that dot through these parachains. Then on a second phase, then we will expand that to cover the rest of these parachains where dot travels. So we say about 95 to 98% of all parachains where dot travels. And then we will provide a collaborative approach, which our development team is still working on it, to allow a collaborative onboarding of all parachains. So all teams, so you have about 80 parachains, if I recollect well, so all teams interested in participating in this project will have the ability to collaborative get this, you can call it toolkit or whatever, that we together we'll be able to get them on board and then provide that visibility to the rest of the community, whoever needs to have that visibility through. As part of all this, we also included in this new proposal kind of a phase 0, which we call learning and education. So we're going to run, I believe, about 5 series of webinars for up to 250 people within the community to train them on everything about compliance. So everyone who within the community who's going to be talking to banks, who's going to be talking to financial institutions, asset managers, or anyone who can either list or create a financial product using, would need to have the way to speak their language. And we will take that as a part of the education program of this proposal for the communities. So all these people can go and speak about it. So if we, it's about 1250 people. If you take 5 courses of 250, we just made that as a first approach. And yeah, I think those are perhaps major changes in terms of how this will go. Of course, maintenance is an ongoing maintenance, which means, we will keep everything up to date regarding everything that we manage. So when we spoke to Parity the first time, they said last year you guys had about 1,000 changes across Parity Change. So that requires maintenance. And that's part of the proposal as well. So that means that every time there's a change, we're going to be syncing up with your teams that are going to be collaborating with us in here, and making sure that this reflected within the solution. The solution that we offer is called ecosystem intelligence. Is the ability to provide all the information that these institutions require from your ecosystem in order to decide whether you guys are, let's say, are good or safe for them to list you or to, create a new financial product. And for those clients that already has chain analysis, right? Because, not all banks today already has listed any crypto product yet. So there are banks that they haven't even gone yet there. But it's expected that over the next year, especially across Europe and USA, that may change, right? So for those, we have about 1,300 clients across the globe, and so immediately at the moment we onboard all the data, all these clients will see the dot, will immediately be able to trace the dot, and then they will be able to, let's say, check that box of compliance and be able to, through their business digital asset groups, get approval from their board to list dot on their portfolios. So we have examples that I guess Georgie already mentioned from some banks here in Europe. And I think about my time is almost gone. So stopping here, and thank you. Happy to take questions.
Okay, well, because it's 6 million something dollars. Okay, we'll just take a few questions here, Funky. I hope you don't mind. Perhaps it would make sense to fan this out a little bit. But I ask all 3 questioners to keep the questions extremely short. And Christian, if you could keep the answer short as well, please. Hope, let's go starting with you.
Hey, Christian, are you aware that there's already an ETF being explored and that Polkadot has been determined a software?
Well, there may be. I don't know. I mean, there are many, many, many banks across the globe. So typically, it all depends. This is self-decision of each institution, right? Each institution will have their own regulations depending on which countries they operate, which regulators are they under, let's say, supervision with. We work with the majority of regulators across the globe, and that's the reason why these banks are willing to use chain analysis in order to do that. So, which means that I cannot say that 100% of the banks across the globe will need chain analysis in order to create an ETF, because, if you're listing an ETF, perhaps, I don't want to say a specific country, but I don't know, Bahamas, for example. Perhaps in Bahamas, the regulator, they don't really care about that piece. This is just an example, right? So what means is it all depends on jurisdiction, country where this company operates, also and if they require that. So there could be ETF that exist without having a checkbox of compliance, but Well, not in the main countries like Europe, Asia Pacific, or USA. That I would say.
Okay, let's go, Raul. Nice and short and sweet there, Raul.
Yeah, just to follow up on Hope, I want to say that I know there are some organizations that are researching on the possibility of a .etf Hope. I want to say three things, and then I have one question. The first one is that I'm quite surprised at Chainalysis' proposal and commitment with the process of the community. I think they went down from 10 million to 6.5, if I'm not mistaken. I was originally very against the 10 million. I think it was too expensive. In general, I try to see proposals in a combination of deliverables plus how impactful the project can be. And I think one of the biggest challenges that we have right now in the Polkadot ecosystem is liquidity. And I think the visibility of the brand is also something to take into account in this particular proposal. Also, I really like the integration of the chains and Asset Hub. I'm a big fan of Plaza and very expectant to whatever will happen there. So I think that will be a good solution as well. I'm just wondering particularly on the definition of the mature network in the Chainalysis platform. If you could provide a bit more of information of what that means and what would imply in terms of impact for the Polkadot ecosystem, because there is some information in the proposal, but I would like you to develop a bit more this because I'm not sure if I quite understand what this definition is.
Yeah, thank you so much, Raul. So when we speak about mature networks, it's all based on let's say, the level of coverage that we provide to that particular network, right? It's an internal acronym of what we use. We have pre-growth assets. We have mature networks. Perhaps, I believe Jordi entered in this call, my colleague. He can go further down details, but just to give you an idea, this is important. When you are mature network, that means that our clients will have the ability to trace using our tracing solutions, graphically speaking, the dot. So a bank that wants to list dot will be able to know the source of funds. So someone who's bringing dots to the banks who wants to do a custody service, for example, they will be able to know where these dots are coming from, that they are not linked to any illicit activity, and then accept those dots to be stored in the bank. So they will be able to see that graphically in our investigation solution. That is the most important piece for the community of the mature asset, which means that in the very moment you become mature asset in our classification, immediately all our 1,300 plus clients will be able to trace that and will be able to have the option to list that. I'm not saying that this is the only requirement. I'm saying that the compliance checkbox for these clients will be just checked.
Okay, we're pushing it here. Robert?
Einfach da rechts am besten. Genau.
Wait, what's that? Sorry, Christoph?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No. I didn't have a question. I was speaking to the taxi driver. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Safe journeys. Robert, we're pushing it. So real quick here.
Yeah, I'll just make my most important question then. So we have this other score chain proposal, and I understand that your scope is much larger than that one here, but they're proposing like this open source KYT tool that could be used by multiple things. I wanted to ask if that is something that you could reuse inside, so that you can skip like some of the development work of integrating Polkadot and reuse that to reduce some of the cost of the proposal here.
Right.
One open source tool for like multiple KYT integrations would, of course.
Yeah, I think I read a little bit about it. I think the idea is good, to be honest. But when we ingest data, we need really high-performing nodes in order to be able to respond to all these clients on the SLAs that we use. So we spoke to Parity Data about this. They gave us a couple of providers that provides fast speed data. And I would say that theoretically the idea from the open source stuff may be good, but if technically speaking, I cannot make any, assessment about it, whether that would be able to have the throughputs that we need to be able to ingest the data in the way we need it. So I'm curious. Well, I'm surprised that this hasn't come before as a parity data work, because I'm pretty sure that the parity team will be able to build that open source connector by themselves. That does not require any analytics company to be built, to be honest. Yeah, and if this is something interesting for you guys, I can take it with me and discuss internally with the dev team and see if they can make that up and as well here. I mean, as we're speaking to parity, that requires some technical analysis, but yeah, happy to take that with me.
Well, you're in luck, sir, because we actually have a member from that team here, and we're going to discuss the ref next. Before we get there, Christian, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. It's nice to see you. And
My
of
pleasure.
course, we're going to be watching this very closely. So please do come back.
Thank you.
I want to throw it now to Don Diego Sanchez, however, who is bringing this open source KYT proposal to the table. This is 508,000 USDC. And Mr. Sanchez, it might be useful, well, I would find it useful at least, if you could put this proposal in context to the chain analysis proposal we just heard there. And then we could talk a little bit about what you're bringing to the table that's different and or the same, and helps make good decisions going forward. Sir, welcome to the show.
Okay, thanks, Jay. I'm with Benjamin from ScoreChain too. He will do some. He will present us ScoreChain, but I
Hello.
would like to introduce and to, like you said, put some context on why I'm the main sponsor of this proposal. So many of you know me, but I'm the co-founder of the Chaos DAO. I have recently been elected as a head ambassador, but few people know that I'm also a compliance officer. So my work was basically to design, implement, and sign AML-CFT policies. So I'm in direct contact with all the regulators that matters, and I know stuff about KYTs. And the last proposal triggered some, let's say, inaccuracies and misconceptions about KYT and all of that, which pushed me into working on my own proposal. Like as a compliance officer and an ecosystem agent, I could not let that pass like that. There is a lot of, basically false information about the subject. So before giving the floor to Benjamin, I would like to clarify that you don't need the KYT to have ETF. It's a security, so it falls under the securities law, and KYT is for crypto assets. It goes the same with fiat ramp. You need a KYT provider. If you have a bidirectional fiat ramp, like if you want to accept assets from users, then you need a KYT provider. But let's say BlackRock that's doing a BTC ETF with Coinbase, BlackRock doesn't even know where the BTC are. The custodian, which is Coinbase, is doing that. So actually, we should remove this from our mind, that having a KYT provider will trigger any kind of exchangeable, tradable products, because there are securities, and because those products have high fees, so only commercial traction and actual traction on Polkadot could trigger that. That's one point. But the main one that people need to understand, and that's why we designed this proposal like that with ScoreChain, that it's because any any AML CFT policy actually requires two KYT providers, at least in all the regulatory framework about crypto assets that exist today. That's usual. We do that on every aspect in an AML CFT policy. You do that with identity. So you check the identity of your customers twice. And if you have a big use case, you need two KYT providers, two different ones. And often you need one that have some kind of sovereignty, so it should not be US based. So knowing that, it felt, like I say, like a duty to offer an alternative to that, because on top of it, I would find it really like it would cast a really bad image on us if we would pay like 20 times or 12 times, sorry, 12 times the real cost for a tool that will allow KYT providers to onboard the ecosystem, and what investors and anyone will think about that. Like for marketing proposal, it's more a matter of should we do it or not, but we are paying the proper price. Right now, we are paying 12 times the price of what would cost the tool that will allow all DKYT providers to onboard Polkadot. So I find it quite embarrassing for us. So that's why we work on that. The idea of the proposal is to put Polkadot in the same situation as all the other ecosystem that are providing open source tools to let KYT providers access their data. And you can you can ingest data quicker than a blockchain, and the blockchain has finality, so any solution that's faster than finality will be enough. And we believe that we are, with our subsquid indexer solution, not only we are using a resource from the ecosystem and creating a tool that anyone will be able to use, but of course it will be fast enough to ingest all the Polkadot throughput. So now I will give the floor to Benjamin, that will do a short introduction about ScoreChain itself and the kind of customer they have. Again, we are talking about a potential deal with a Spanish bank. The biggest Spanish bank is a customer of ScoreChain. This is Santander, and they're using ScoreChain to Caseis, which is the biggest asset servicing provider in Europe and one of the top in the world. They are managing like 5,000 billion of dollars globally. They are in Latin America, they're in Middle East, in Europe, in US, in Asia. And you can check the customers list, the ScoreChain customers list, and you see they are spread globally, they are used everywhere. And last point, there is nothing fancy about KYT. KYT is just a database with some label on it, okay? So thinking that a KYT provider could give us any access to BizDev or stuff like that is like thinking that a KYC provider will do that. Did you ever believe that Onfido or people like that will give us any BizDev leads? No, because it's just a tool, a very convenient one, but it's just a tool for compliance officer to facilitate the access of the data they could already get on chain. And that's my final point. You actually don't need a KYT provider if you can accept the risk or be able to verify yourself. And that's why we need a KYT provider only if you want to deploy globally use case that will involve managing other assets funds. Benjamin, please, you have the floor. You have 4 minutes. I told you
Guys,
1
thank
minute,
you very
sorry.
much. I will try to be really quick. So I'm Benjamin. I've been working at ScoreChain for 4 years and 6 months now. Just for you to know, I think it's good to align about what is crypto KYT, so know your transaction, and blockchain analytics, because you have a lot of solutions out there in the market. You have solutions focused on investigations, forensics, and this is where Chainalysis, TRM Labs stands, where they're really, really fantastic about that. And you have other solutions, which is more centered into pure operations, helping compliance officers to make automated decisions directly, user-friendly platform for them to really fasten their decision-making. And this is where ScoreChain stands today. So just for your information, a KYT solution is just about analyzing the wallet or transaction based on the origin and destination of the funds, where it comes from, where it has been sent to, is it a dark web marketplace, is it a scam, a hacker? So our main role is about tagging wallets, like what Danjigo just said. So this is what we do, and the most important thing is to do it in real time. And with the blockchain evolution, with DEXs, DeFi trade, finance, bridges, and so on, we have to adapt. But the compliance officer is looking to comply with the other regulatory requirements. And an investigation tool is not a requirement. A blockchain analytics tool is not an investigation. So in large crypto exchanges, of course, you will have investigators, because if there is something shady happening, they need to have an investigation, of course. But just to let you know about ScoreChain, because it's maybe not as famous as a Chainalysis, but we started in 2016, so quite a long time ago in the ecosystem. We are based in Luxembourg, so we are based in Europe, and over the time we have helped over more than 350 customers. So companies only in 45 different countries. A few of our customers is recently we just won a 1.5-year RFP against other competitors, which is the EKA Bank in Germany. We also onboarded DZ Bank in Germany, which is a ranked 50 as the largest bank over the world, and CACEIS, and we won the RFP as well, which is the asset service banking group of Crédit Agricole and Santander. So yeah, it's a European leader there. We also have a lot of French customers. Caisse des Dépôts is a national bank, and also Banque des Lubac, which is the first bank, a French bank, which received the PSAN license, so the regulation in France. So it's really important by using only ScoreChain, they are allowed and able to just do it. We currently have a lot of crypto companies, like crypto platforms, trading payment services, and banks, and we have designed more around for operation than forensics. It's really important. We allow our the compliance officers to customize the settings, have transparent information about everything, and we have a real focus on data protection, also data transparency, where it goes, so we don't share data to tax authorities, for instance. So user friendliness is really important, and also we help startups, medium, large size companies. So I'm going to be really quick there. Why ScoreChain proposal? All of our customers currently using ScoreChain and other banks could use like a Chainalysis, like Christian mentioned for Chainalysis, this is the same. But we do have a customer right now, which is Exmo.com, a trading platform that require Polkadot. We have a bank in Switzerland requiring it for next year, Q2, just for information. And we are actually speaking with a lot of customers about what kind of next blockchain they would like to have. So it's also about demand there. And just for you to know, Chainalysis is really valued as 4 billion, maybe even more. It's really surprising for them to ask 6.5 million. We ask 500K, and we will do more, even better with 500K. And that's it, because I think I'm running out of time.
We learned so much on this show. This is fascinating stuff. We are at time, but we'll extend it another 5 minutes like we did for Chainalysis. I do want to throw it to Christian because I think there was there's some shade thrown your way here, and I think obviously it's only right to give you a chance to respond. What do you think about what you heard there, Christian?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's there are a few things I would ask if I were a client to buy here. First of all, is what is it that we're buying here? So with Chainalysis, you guys are buying what we call ecosystem intelligence, which is a solution that will allow us to provide all the information about the ecosystem. I didn't hear anything about that in this pitch. That's the first point. Secondly, how many clients do we have using that kind of solution from that vendor? So we do have Tether, which is the largest stablecoin issuer in the world using ecosystem intelligence today, which is actually a blockchain. It's an ecosystem. So that means that you are buying a solution that is proven and is working today and is reporting to the SEC all the data that is required. Let's say the SEC is not an easy regulator to deal with. For those you guys that live in US, you may know that well. So having said that, yeah, I mean, if I were working on a Web3 company and try to find a cheap solution to comply with the regulators, yeah, I mean, I would say this could be a good option. I cannot talk about, another companies, but what we can say, if we swap the conversation first of all, an ecosystem, like you don't need a KYT, right? So otherwise, I would be selling to you the KYT. KYT are for the banks. KYT are for the Web3 companies. KYT, because they are required by regulators to monitor transactions. You are not, as a protocol. But you need to provide visibility about the illicit activity that may happen, especially on secondary market. This is the key aspect. Secondary markets, peer-to-peer, is what the regulators are after for. KYT does not provide that, period. Does not provide any vision on secondary market. So, having said that, I said in my first phrase, that connector that was mentioned in that proposal, yeah, that might be interesting. But the question I would say, I would talk to Pavla. Hey, Pavla, can you build this stuff? You know, you have great groups in Parity. So speak to her. I'm pretty sure they can build that stuff quickly. Otherwise, yeah, happy to take that on our side and see if our team will be able to build it. When you introduce so many providers, layers, you have also the risk of failure. So what happens if that connector fails? Well, how many people are working on that particular provider? Do we have more than 100 people? Because, at Chainalysis, we are about 800 people. 200 of them are just manually verifying every single label that is done in there. We're the only provider in the world that is able to provide data that you can take to a court case. So in the case that the SEC comes to you and you need to go to court, it's the only provider that provides data that you can take to court. Who else can say that? Yeah, so basically, pretty much it all depends on what you need to comply with. It all depends on the level of risk you have. I cannot speak about score chain. I guess they're growing fast, market is growing. And with, when you have bull runs and everything runs and everything grows. The question is, they started back in 2014. So we started back, you said 2014, I believe.
2016.
Oh, yes. So 2014 we started like 2014, 2013. We multiplied the company by X number of employees. I was looking at LinkedIn for ScoreChain. I can only see 22 people
I
registered.
can answer for this if you want.
No, that's fine. So what I'm saying is, yeah, it could be 40, 20, 50. So the question is, financially speaking, it all depends on what is the decision of the community, right? So financial stability is also important in order to say, okay, I'm going to invest with this partner, because otherwise, if that company shuts down, okay, who's going to take over that maintenance of that piece of software later down? Because, it's open source, but you need to pay for maintenance. I read that you need to renew that proposal every 3 years in order to have that maintenance. So that open source is a little bit tricky.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Christian. We're pretty over time here, but Don Diego, we'll throw it back to you for
Yeah,
a second and
let's.
appreciate you keeping
Someone
it
suggested that
civil.
we. Sorry.
Yep.
Someone suggested that we do a longer debate on Polkadot, the Twitter account. I think we should do that because a lot of bullshit have been said. I'm sorry, Christian. I've just shared an article from the Beacon magazine saying that chain analysis actually doesn't provide anything in US courts. So we should need more time. Like I can't answer to everything that Christian said like just right now. Viewers can check the link I just shared and make their own opinion on it. But basically, it said that the CLO of chain analysis is not even able to explain why their solution, their secret source, should have any value in court. So I'm sorry, Christian, this is my job. So I'm working with the SCML on a daily basis. I know this stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
Something are just not true. Sorry.
I don't think we need to take time off the audience here. But yeah, I mean, if you like to read articles, look for Sterling Goff, and then you can read about it. So there was a case of a Russian guy who's in jail, and for money laundering. Read that, and then once you have educated yourself, then we're happy to talk. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Well, no matter
Thank
which.
you to you, Christian.
What's that?
I was just saying thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for keeping it civil. At the end of the day, no matter which solution we go through or go with, I'll probably be in jail. But I want to thank you both teams for coming to the show here. We're going to move on to Oh yeah. Hey, Natalie. Speaking of working with businesses here, you got a doozy here. B2B marketing and sales enablement for the Polkadot ecosystem. Now, this isn't marketing like we talk a lot about in Polkadot, trying to reach users and all this stuff. You have a different approach here, and you look for 181,000 USDC, about almost a week into the decision period, and very few votes so far. But of those votes who've come through, we're at 37.2%. Want to welcome you to the show and give you the floor. Welcome to AAG.
Thank you so much. Yeah, really excited to be presenting our proposal. We provocatively called this the next 1 billion users. And that is because we actually believe that the key to unlock this 1 billion is that we actually speak to that mass market, that we pick them up, that we speak to them and not at them. And for this, we need to start doing targeted marketing and BD. Which can be achieved through enablement. And we also know that marketing proposals are the most fashionable right now. So we want to make clear that this is not just another campaign, just what you mentioned, Jay, but it's more of an enablement or a consulting project that will improve the KPIs of the many great projects out there. Before we jump into this, a few words about ourselves. So you might have seen my face before. I've been in the Polkadot ecosystem for 3 years. I've worked in basically all with everyone in the ecosystem and also on different, let's say, fields. So I worked in marketing. I worked with tech and BD. I currently am head of marketing at Parity. And I work with the ecosystem, with the community. I work with VCs. So I've always been very cross-functional, I would say. I've been for the past 10 years, I've already been in Web3 and also marketing. And what I also bring to the table is the tech side of things. So in a previous life, I've been a physicist. I've done my PhD in computational physics. So I've done lots of coding before. So I would say that I can speak the language of both technical and non-technical audiences. And then Yashar, over to you.
Yes. Hi, everyone, and thanks for having us today. My name is Yashar. I've spent the past 15 years or so in Web2, working in various roles and functions. I was in management consulting, in marketing agencies, large enterprises, early stage startups, later stage unicorn startups, venture capital, but also academia. So I've done quite a bit of everything. But my focus has always been very much on marketing, sales, business development. I've led major projects not only here in Europe, but also in North America and Asia. And they've mostly been around topics such as launching new products or entering new markets. Well, or a combination of both. Most recently, that's been for the past 4 years, I've been the managing director of Lime, which is the world's largest e-scooter and e-bike company. And for those of you who are familiar with the industry, you probably know it's a very, very competitive one. And marketing and sales have always been a top priority at everything we've did. And given the success of Lime, I hope this can be one good example of the quality of the work that we've delivered in the past. I'm transitioning into Web3 as we speak. And obviously, I would love to bring my experience to the Polkadot ecosystem. Back to you, Natalie.
Oh, I think you're muted there, Natalie. Love
Yep,
Lime Bike.
thank you. Okay, perfect. So let's start with where we're coming from. I think Polkadot has done always a really good job at addressing the kind of first and early fans. We have, within a short period of time, we've gained like 1 million followers on Twitter, newsletter has exploded, everything. But this new wave of audience, so this mass market is more diverse. And that's this kind of famous chasm that people say when they say this is like the difficulty when a technology or a startup scales, it's crossing that chasm to the mass market. And later, the audiences that are around, be it builders, be it investors, be it developers or non-tech talent, they're way more diverse, and you need to speak to them in a more targeted way. And to give a little example, And by the way, I think it's important to say we all love these projects that we're mentioning here, but we may be one of the 1% out there who understand what these ads are talking about. And that it's exactly because we are one of these early fans. So we belong to this like small group of people, even though we are also diverse, but we understand the market, we understand the language that we're spoken to. But yes, what we're seeing is that the current Web3 messaging is still a one-size-fits-all, and that is also true for Polkadot. And that is also the reason why we see this like second point, the number one rule of marketing, which is talking about the benefit over the features, as in talking about the why instead of the what, can't be fulfilled if we don't know who we are targeting. So thinking about what's in it for the user instead of saying, this is what we're having, this is why we are great at, this won't work anymore if we want to speak more, if we want to address these new audiences. And the key for this, and this is also, so this is kind of, as I said before, we like these projects, and this is all really great work. And it's a lot of work to kind of dig deeper and really understand these markets and users. And the key to this is enablement, which is kind of key to our proposal. So we've done a lot of research for this proposal, and you can check out the first page of the proposal. And basically, all we've heard, this one common denominator that we heard from all the BD and marketing ecosystem teams is that enablement is missing. So that is usually, enablement is a broad field, and it's usually in different institutions, it's called different things, but usually this is like a product marketer's responsibilities. And product marketing teams are usually the biggest teams, especially for like very tech-heavy products in marketing organizations. And we have zero at Polkadot. So we focus very much on kind of the tactics and events and doing campaigns, but kind of thinking about the why and who we are targeting, and doing this enablement is coming short. And as I said, sales enablement includes different things. And importantly, why is this important? So sales cycles, they take a really, really long time. And thinking that you are pursuing a lead for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, and then not following through, and then this happens again over and over again, you waste a lot of time and effort and money with this. And sales enablement increases the KPIs of BD teams by up to 30%. And all the teams that we've spoken to in the ecosystem, they would be our beneficiaries. So we're hoping that the material that we're creating will be of use for the others. Not only we hope, but we also have included that we work with them together to kind of test it. To make things more concrete, like really shortly here, on the left side, you see like typical deliverables of this enablement work. And we've done more than 2 months of research and have analyzed what we already have and what has the most impact. And you see kind of the left ones, the very like early ones, segmentation and so on. They're very strategic and they become more and more tactical towards the end. So it is kind of going towards like pitch decks in the middle, value props, and then towards the end, it's very execution. And we will focus on kind of the first part in our first proposal, and then move, hopefully, make this a long-term engagement with the DAO. And
thanks, Natalie. Yeah, looking at the time, I'll try to be super fast. So marketing and sales enablement, how do we want to do it? As you can see on the slide, We're going to use a very proven and well-established 6-step plan. And for this very proposal, we want to focus on steps 1, 2, and 3. That's market segmentation, targeting, and positioning, or short STP, which in itself is a very powerful framework to improve marketing and sales in an organization or an ecosystem such as Polkadot. And we want to make sure that we deliver results fast and folks in the ecosystem can start working with these results as soon as possible. Now, here's a very detailed project plan on this slide that we have laid out. And please also check our comprehensive proposal for additional context, or reach out to us directly if you want to talk about it. I'm not going to go into detail here, but I want to highlight one thing, which is we have a very good understanding of what we want to do. There are dedicated goals, which you can see on the top. There are specific activities in the middle, and most importantly, all the deliverables and milestones for each phase, and we'll report to these on a very regular basis with you all. So we all understand which segments have the greatest potential and the highest attractiveness and why. This is what we want to focus on. So in the future, whenever there is a discussion, hopefully it can be more evidence-based and it can be more informed than it used to be or tends to be sometimes today. So Natalie already talked about this on the next slide, but I just want to, again, make sure everyone's on the same page. What's the goal of this project? We want to close more deals, better deals, bigger deals, and we want to do it faster. And it's not going to be only my opinion or Natalie's opinion what bigger, better, or faster means. This is going to be a very research and data-driven project, especially in phase 1. And I want to be super clear about this. Whatever we recommend and whatever materials we produce and whatever we deliver to the ecosystem teams to work with aims at improving one or several important sales KPIs directly. We've listed a few KPIs here for your reference. And that way we hold not only ourselves, but also all the different ecosystem players accountable to focusing on what matters the most, and to avoid discussions, what I mentioned before, where folks rather share opinions and gut feelings and not so much facts. And last but not least, I'm going to finish with this. Why are we doing this? The beneficiaries of these projects, that's all the marketing and sales teams that we've been talking with so far, like Distractive, Poke, CultureDot, Polkadot Brazil, Polkaport East, the BD team at Parity, and so on and so forth. They want this project to happen. They are strong supporters of what we do. And we've done this quite a few times in the past. We have the skills, we have the knowledge, and we know how to make this a success. We're obviously huge fans of Polkadot. Natalie's been around for almost 3 years. I'm starting to get engaged, and I really love being around everyone. So it's a project that's close to our hearts, and our work is going to drive actionable insights right away. I mentioned the KPIs, and I mentioned quick results, and this is what we're going to focus on. And we're here for the long run. B2B is a great place to start, but there's so many audiences that can be targeted, and we want to focus on all of them. And with that,
okay,
I will stop talking.
Okay, very good.
Ref 1019.
Thank you very much. I guess we're a little bit over time there. Our timer was literally slacking, and I couldn't I couldn't see your clock on that view there, Funky. Otherwise, I would have stopped it as well. But anyways, guys, nice presentation. Thank you. Personally, I'd be interested to see what you guys can do with a little bit of funding here. But let's give it to Daniel for the shortest question he could possibly imagine asking, followed by the shortest answer anybody could ever conjure. Let's go, Daniel.
Yeah, for me, it's not as much as an answer. I just would like to pitch in my point of view of trying for the past half a year to form the BD efforts, and I definitely agree with that. It's exactly kind of the missing piece. What we need to help us target the audience and connect all the different pieces. Distractive, Polkadot, all the different BD initiatives. And I think after talking to Natalie and Jashar, that they are the ones for the job, and I think they could kind of help be the glue behind the motor of the different teams working in a decentralized way.
Yes, yeah, I'm compelled by them as well. Yeah, I think you're right there. Thanks for the vote of confidence there, Daniel. And guys, thanks for coming on the show and sharing this right now. We'll have to see a lot more votes to come in, but we'll check next week. And please do come back if you feel it would be helpful.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Very nice. Okay, we're going to move on now. Because look, if we get some business development going, we're going to need to have some development. And looks like Some of the guys who are working on ink want to form an alliance for a more successful plaza. Pretorius Whiteus, how are you? Welcome to the show. I think you wanted to chat about this today.
Yes, I did. Great transition as usual. I've got some slides
my
just to
best.
kind of walk through some of it. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Yeah, and thanks for having me. So as soon as this pulls up, there it goes.
Yep.
I think everyone can see that. Awesome. So yeah, creating an ink alliance for more successful plaza. And what I want to start with is actually Polkadot's vision. This is from a blog post a few years ago. And Polkadot's vision is for a protocol at the heart of a vision for a fair, secure, and resilient web. In and of itself, the vision isn't that important because I'm sure lots of blockchains have this same vision. But the difference is, and the difference why most of us are building here, is because we know that Polkadot does not cut corners or compromise on this. It's a secure protocol, and it's properly decentralized. And this is also why ink is necessary, because ink was built with this same vision in mind. And it is the easiest way for developers to build proper and secure decentralized applications. Now, why I've got this presentation and why we're talking today is we have this discussion up, and we wanted to answer some questions, which is one, what is ink? How and why will ink help Plaza? We'll briefly touch on the alliance, but I imagine this will probably be some follow-up presentations. And the important piece is we're looking for feedback. We're looking for suggestions, and we're looking for your thoughts for how you would like to see ink move forward. So we'll start here, which is ink is native to Polkadot. Ink is for smart contracts on Polkadot. And to start, I mean, the Polkadot SDK was built with Rust. And ink is simply Rust with some specialized features to make building smart contracts on Polkadot as easy as possible. This also means we get to do some really cool things. So here's an XCM message. The actual code isn't that important. And here's another XCM message. Now the question I have is, which one is in a parachain runtime and which one is in an ink smart contract? And you can't actually tell the difference because it is the exact same code. Because ink is Rust and built for Polkadot, it can actually use the same code that a parachain runtime would use. But it can do it in a much, much easier way. Because some people may say we've got the Polkadot SDK and we've got the ink smart contracts that are both Rust-based solutions. So why do we need both? But the thing is that Polkadot SDK and building an entire chain is way more costly and way more difficult than building a smart contract and deploying it on a parachain. It also means because ink is Rust, if your smart contract does really good and you need to scale, you can reuse and reinvest the same code to then build a parachain. So no wasted time. Now, I've talked about Rust a lot, Rust. So why is Rust so important? And we're gonna start here, which is Rust is actually used extensively beyond just the Web3 ecosystem. All of Polkadot, the Polkadot SDK, the Polkadot protocol is built with Rust because of its security guarantees, because of its performance guarantees, and because of the guarantees that it has. And all of these big companies you see, which is not even close to all of them, are actually rewriting code from other languages into Rust, and not just regular code, mission critical code, like operating systems, into Rust because of its security guarantees. It's also the most admired language for 8 years in a row, and it's got pretty good developer stats. So in 2022, there were 2 million Rust developers. By comparison, all of Web3, every single ecosystem, has about 34,000. And then in just 2 years, it's actually doubled in size to over 4 million Rust developers. And unfortunately, Web3 went down. Now, this is important because we've got Plaza coming. We finally have a Polkadot-based parachain for smart contracts, which will give smart contracts in Polkadot essentially the room it needs to thrive. So by continuing to support ink, you actually have a diversified developer pool. So the same palette, the same module for smart contracts that Parity is building will support Solidity smart contracts, but it will also support ink smart contracts. And with ink, it also provides a secure and a trusted language. This is a language that enterprises use, that businesses use and get behind, at least in terms of Rust. And it has existing infrastructure. So there's the existing tutorials, existing education for building smart contracts on Polkadot, in addition to all of the Rust tooling that exists and isn't just built by Web3 native developers. Now, this is where the alliance comes in. So these are a few high-level points. There's much more in the actual proposal and discussion. But Parity is continuing to improve the Polka VM, which Ink did support, but it needs to be updated to be able to actually deploy on the newest Polka VM. So we need to fund core developers for that. And then because Ink is at a mature stage, one of the core things is actually increasing traction through education. So video tutorials, blog posts, things like that. And that the proposal goes into it more. And then of course, just improvements, maintenance, fixing audit findings, and things like that. Now, the actual alliance is a set of stakeholders of Ink and Polkadot, including Ink core developers. We've got the lead core developer that worked at Parity for over 6 years and brought Ink to where it is today. Polytope behind Hyperbridge, Rogue behind Pop Network, and Verdo behind the Cravo network, the Cravo chain. And all of these chains are going to support smart contracts and have stake in Polkadot to help guide and lead Ink to a place where it's most successful for Polkadot. Now, what Ink is, it is the language that kind of bridges the real world developers of Rust into building proper and secure decentralized technology. Like I said, Ink is the easiest way to build secure decentralized applications. Now, this is where I really will benefit the most is we're looking for your questions, to get your suggestions, get your feedback, and get your thoughts. Thank you so much.
Good, thank you very much. That was really informative. Great approach here for this proposal, which I didn't realize. I guess you're looking for about $500,000 to start this alliance here. Or that's the. Are you going to request in dot or stables? Yeah, in dot. Yeah, I think in long.
It's in dot on the proposal.
Yeah.
But we've got feedback. We should just do it all in stables. So we'll probably just do it all in stables.
Okay. Okay. All good. Wow, we actually have time for questions here. This is great. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, the Batman.
Thanks for the presentation, Peter. I think Ink has had a lot of negative sentiments lately, like being a cool concept that never really bore fruit. I personally really like Ink, right? Like while I was at the academy, like we went through the Ink smart contracts classes, and it was a very short class, but I could immediately see the difference in, like, I think anybody who's written Rust in general can see the difference between writing something else, like maybe like Solidity, versus just using the things that are Polkadot native, right? I think it's a great proposal that should be funded. I just hope that we're able to convey to the audience that Ink is actually cool and it should be funded. And with Plaza coming in, there will finally, like the bottleneck I feel for Ink was that I couldn't deploy my applications anywhere, right? Like even if I could write Ink smart contracts, where would I deploy it, right? Like there's literally no parachain that supports it, except maybe like there was one LF0, right? Which I'm not sure if they're a part of the, if they're using Polkadot or not. But yeah, so with Plaza, I definitely think it's worth giving Ink another shot, and I hope that the community sees the value in it.
Thank you, Batman. Funky.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I just want kind of piggybacking on a little bit of some of the stuff that Batman was just saying, because I, as the least technical member of the Lucky Friday team, I often have a very difficult time assessing some of these, Peter, because as Batman shared, there's sort of been a, like Ink has kind of been left behind in the Plaza conversation and Polka VM. And I just don't know where, like, is the plan of the alliance to sort of resuscitate and rehabilitate like Ink as a construct and being used more often? Like the only thing I can think of is Aleph Zero, for instance, as a chain, using it because that was the express purpose of how that chain was born, is using Ink. So just kind of curious for the last minute if you have any additional thoughts about, like, is it just more in I just need to read the proposal in full to kind of get the scope of this and what you're trying to accomplish? Is that just...
Yeah, I mean, I definitely encourage reading the proposal. But yeah, I mean, basically, Ink is at a really mature stage right now. With the release of Ink 5, it makes me really excited to build smart contracts with it. And basically, as Parity is now pushing for this Polka VM support and these many smart contract languages, really think Ink should stay in the conversation. Now, of course, Parity did transition Ink outside of Parity, which is kind of maybe why some of these concerns have popped up. and this is where we come in with this alliance, right? We've got Daniel here with the Cravo chain, and I'm sure he could probably speak to maybe some choices for why they are choosing Ink for Cravo.
Oh, you muted there, but okay, go get it, Daniel.
Step in. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. For example, for more context, in Kusama, we are building infrastructure for organizations to allow them to go from idea to scalable business very easily. And we identify Ink as a core piece of technology to allow these community, these organizations, all these DAOs to add that extra bit of like their secret sauce to all their already existing infrastructure that is provided for these DAOs. It's much easier for us to develop, like to integrate with Ink, with Rust, which is what people in our ecosystem are building with. And also as a like real programming language, we can also use it for extra things that go off chain. We have a plugin system built on top of non-blockchain infrastructure, like the Matrix protocol, to allow for extra functionality that is needed for organizations. And all of this thanks to Rust, and can follow like basically see it as an extension of Ink, and play like have a lot of room for customization and integration, something that we cannot do with traditional smart contracts. I think it's important to see this beyond just like compared to Solidity, like as it was shown in the presentation, Rust is a much larger language with a very fast growing user base. And we can go beyond our confined walls and reach out to other developers that are very interested in building great stuff.
All right.
That
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go, Jay.
Yes, all good.
We're past time, so I just wanted to thank you, Daniel. It was
Thank you. Okay, yeah. So, all right, this is very interesting. So, what I kind of learned here is that Rust is widely used, especially by some of the foundational software in the world and platforms of the world. But Ink is this sort of more accessible language that developers can build with. Is that pretty much right? On the
Ink is Rust with some specialized features to build smart contracts on Polkadot. So it's like kind of bridges those two worlds together.
You know what? I just want to say that I like this crew who's trying to advance Ink a lot better than the old crew. And I don't know if anybody remembers the old days, the old crew, but I just have to wonder what we could do with the dot if we recovered it from the old crew, or what we could do with this new crew today. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming on the show. And when are you going to put this ref up? Any idea?
I mean, the goal, we've had it open for a week just to get some feedback. We've got some feedback, like do it in stables. So it'll probably be soon. Unless somebody's got some big feedback, we'll probably open it maybe tomorrow or next week.
Cool. All right, guys, thanks very much for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us.
All right, we got a couple left here today. One is the DAS Bog, Decentralized Perpetuals Future Exchange, 54,500 dot. And looks like a little less than a week left in the decision period, sitting at 16.9%, but not all the votes we'd expect. Only around 38 million votes. Do we have anybody here to talk about this?
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel, co-founder and CTO of Ceres Blockchain Solutions. There are two of my colleagues also on the call. Marcos, he's CEO, and Ogden, he's a blockchain engineer and master in computational finance. The topic is, our proposal. I will share the screen. Just a second. Can you see it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The topic is our proposal, Dashboard, Decentralized Perpetual Futures Exchange. By the way, Darpug is an old Slavic god of wealth. So yeah, wealth and perpetual future. That's related. So yeah, we are losing at the moment 20% to 80%, but we still have 7 days to flip it. And yeah, we are positive because we are in talks with some DVs which voted nay, and some which are in abstain phase, and the feedback is positive. We are having calls with them. So yeah, before I go through quickly the pitch deck, I will talk about how did we come up with the idea about the perpetual futures. We are building in Polkadot in Substrate, to be precise, for the last 3 or 4 years, mostly in DeFi area. We started as a Ceres project, which is intended as DeFi service provider. We built a lot of stuff, and we are satisfied how DeFi is heading in right direction in Polkadot through the hydration parachain, which is at the moment the main DeFi parachain in Polkadot with most users, most liquidity, most volume. But there is also a lot of opportunity to improve the DeFi on Polkadot, and one of the opportunities is to build the perpetual futures. Yeah. So also we saw the Polkadot Prodigy hackathon, and then we applied for the hackathon with this idea. We won the first place in DeFi category, and the logical step after that was to proceed further with the implementation. Last month in Brussels on Polkadot Decoded, we talked with some people from Web3 Foundation, from Polkadot parachains, some influential figures. Also, we talked with Hydration's CTO and CEO, both Jakubs, about the idea, because our main goal was to implement it on the Hydration, because it is as I said, the main DeFi parachain. After that, we wrote to the Hydration community, Discord, Telegram. The community's feedback was positive. But at the end, we didn't get the public confirmation from the Hydra team, because they wrote us that they are very busy with their stuff. Yeah, we had a call last week with them, with both Jakubs. We talked a lot about a lot of details. They had some questions. So we solved that, updated our white paper. But 3 weeks ago, when we made a proposal, we made it like a plug and play solution, because, as I said, at that moment we didn't get any, I would say, public confirmation from them or any other parachain. So we created the proposal as a plug and play solution. That's one of the things that DVs which voted nay is the main concern. And yeah, that's it about the idea. How did we come up with that? Regarding the product itself, it's called the Darvuk. I said that's the name of old Slavic god. So yeah, we are Ceres Blockchain Solutions, software company based in Serbia and Belgrade, focused on design, development, implementation of Web3 solutions, active on Polkadot. 95% of our products are built in Substrate and Polkadot, so we have a lot of expertise with palettes and all that things. We participate in numerous projects. We built liquidity locker, token locker, farming as a service. So anyone can create their farming or staking for their token without coding. Also, there is a feature that users can farm in multiple pools with same liquidity. Also, we built lending borrowing platform, launchpad, governance, and other things. And yeah, we are strengthened also with Polkadot Blockchain Academy, our team with Polkadot Blockchain Academy graduate, also with Master in Computational Finance, as I said, whose expertise in this field of DeFi and especially the futures. Yeah, so what's the problem we try to solve? Derivatives is a go-to choice for both retails and institutional users. TVL in DeFi across all networks is around 100 billion. And on Polkadot, it is just around, let's say, $100 million. And so there is a lot of space, a lot of opportunity to improve Polkadot's DeFi ecosystem with some new products. And our solution, yeah, it is the perpetual futures exchange. Response to the lack of advanced DeFi derivatives. Users would be able to trade perpetual futures contracts with high leverage, low cost. If we go with plug and play solution, parachain builders can integrate it on their parachains. This is the short overview of all of this. So platform allows users to trade futures in decentralized manner, leveraging security, stability, interoperability of Polkadot, can be integrated to any parachain, were validated on Polkadot Prodigy Hackathon, and yeah, it will be built using substrate palettes. How does it fit in Polkadot? As I said, target audience would solve individuals who use DeFi. They will find new opportunities trading in Polkadot. In related ecosystems like Ethereum, Arbitrum, and others, projects such as DYDX and GMX are very successful. So, and there is no real competitors in this area in Polkadot. Here is some comparison with similar products about the fees token. Yeah, Darkbook will not have its own token. There will be no KYC and other things. And what I need to add is that if any chain wants to integrate this, for example, hydration, we want to provide $50K dollars in DOT or USDT as a reward for liquidity providers. So if no one is using the platform for the first year, the liquidity providers will get the reward. But of course, that's just the incentive for users. But of course, if platform is being used, there are platform fees which will be distributed also to liquidity providers additionally. Yeah, so, this is the team which will work on this. Couple of blockchain and front end, back end engineers. Also, there should be added a designer. Timeline and budget. Yeah, the estimated duration is 6 months, but the product will feature a complete blockchain palettes, backend UI UX development. And total cost is is around $300K dollars. And for that, a long-term vision, yeah, for Dashboard is to become a leading platform for decentralized futures trading into Polkadot. We hope that the hydration will be the first chain which will integrate it because at the end of the day, when we integrate it on the some parachain, the team of the parachain need to review the code, approve, comments, and then at the end merge it on their chain.
Right.
So I think it's that about my presentation. Did we have some time?
We're
1 minute. Okay.
We're at time. We're a minute over time now. But thanks very much. It'd be interesting to hear from the hydration team themselves on their interest in working with you guys. But this was a really nice primer and primer. Jesus Christ! And is it Dockboard? Dockborg? Is that how you say it?
It is dashboard.
Darsh
J-
Dashboard.
yeah,
Dashborg.
dashboard.
Dashborg.
Yeah, bog means God.
Dashborg.
Yeah, and the dash means like giving, so it is a god of wealth.
Okay, well, that wasn't my experience with perpetuals, but I appreciate the sentiment. Thanks. Okay, thanks guys for coming on. Yeah, we'd love to see you again, and maybe next time we can have some time for questions if you want. But appreciate you coming on. Thanks
Yeah,
very much.
thank you.
Okay, last presentation, and boy, we're running late here. This is coming back to the Pluto wallet. Did we have anybody who want to talk about Pluto wallet today? Oh, Daniel, it was you.
Yeah,
What did you
that's
want to
me.
say? What did you want to say about this? Halfway through the decision,
I'm working.
halfway there. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I will go quick because I am a good friend with Rostya. We have been in past 2 years since we've met because he's from Prague, same as I am.
Mm.
We has been ever since kind of complementing each other because I'm kind of on the social layer, he's the developer, and we are kind of brainstorming and getting the ideas off of each other. So I'm starting. I just want to help him get the idea out there and pretty much support him as a developer because I really see the potential in him. And I really wanted to thank everyone, especially these past 3 days at the Web3 Summit and within the community in the Kusamarian channel and on Subsquare and everywhere for giving us feedback. And I kind of just quickly wanted to go over it and to kind of explain the kind of maybe a bit of a misconception which are stemming from mostly the name and how we kind of shape the proposal. And it goes into the name Pluto Wallet, and that was kind of the biggest people thing people were saying was that we already have great wallets within the ecosystem, with which I very much agree. The Nova Wallet, Talisman are great examples for both mobile and desktop. But in my opinion, they have its place. But we are not trying to compete with them, as they are a great general purpose utility wallet of Polkadot, focused mainly on navigating the core features such as staking, delegating, and then very simply through like a browser experience way to interact with any dApp within the ecosystem. What we are trying to do with Pluto Wallet, or maybe rather wallet, it's a platform. The Pluto Wallet is kind of the product which we try to showcase what it can do, but in the end it's a open source white label solution for anyone to use. And one of its and we focus on very core features, and it is easy to onboard people, the which is helpful with the account extraction, which allows you for social recovery of your seed phrase. Then we are focusing on security and customizability with the transaction analyzer, which allows you to kind of simulate all your transactions before you send them out, and customizability through these Pluto layouts. That is the core idea behind it, is to provide not only to something like NFT projects, but to communities and dApp developers a tool to lower their barrier of entry into the ecosystem. So if you have a dApp, for example, you can say Bifrost, but you want to focus on the on-chain dApp and have your own website, but it's really hard to put cash into creating your own application for your for mobile, then you could take the Pluto Wallet solution, which is in C Sharp, which enables you to create your own application, which is in turn a wallet, but you can customize it to your own experience and your and the experience of the users you are onboarding into the ecosystem. So they on one side can have, of course, Nova Wallet, but on the other they could have something like Bifrost, and it can be on both Android, iPhone, Windows, and of course Mac. And that is what the main and core feature of Pluto Wallet and the idea behind it is. And if you are not a big project such as Bifrost or Hydration or any other, and you don't want your own app, you could also just create your customizable layout, which then you can add into the Pluto Wallet. And then people can, if they want to focus on DeFi or a different things to do within the ecosystem, they can customize their wallets. Or an NFT project which is focused on DeFi applications, then they can create a customizable layout with different features, such as in the future we want to definitely create layouts for something like Omniway or hydration, and create a way of how to interact with a specific community, not in a way where you need to jump through 15 different websites to interact with the different things the community is interested in, but you can create your own kind of user experience for the community or around the dApp. All you need to add into the solution of Pluto Wallet is the visuals, the user interface, and we can help you provide this white label solution for you. And I could go on more, but this is kind of like the core of what we are trying to do. And now with this funding, we want to get out the very core product, which then we want to iterate on and give it to the community to kind of bring in more ideas of what could be done with it.
It's kind of like a video game console, and then you can put in different different programs.
That is kind of the idea, because Rosca, he is working on the Polkadot Unity SDK, and he's working closely with Ayuna, and he definitely wants to integrate Mythical, and that's why he wants to integrate, and that is the focus, that like the proposal is ending with the supposed integration of Plaza, where there should be much more things that could be possible to do with it. And that's why we want to focus on kind of NFTs, because we kind of felt like that the infrastructure for them is kind of left out, and doing it in a way where we can really interact with the community and give them tools to kind of build lower the barriers of entry. That's like is my experience from, for example, Solana. It's like everyone is trying to build the same things all over again, like staking and all these, and just put all of the cash into it rather than building on top of it the ideas they want to actually do.
Cool. Okay, thanks for this extra perspective of this Pluto wallet, this Pluto platform. Any comments or questions for Daniel based on what he said here? No, I think we're pretty much exhausted this show here. So, but I think that
Yeah, I
was
definitely understand.
valuable input there. So thanks very much.
Yeah, wanted to do it as short as possible because I definitely understand.
Oh,
You're tired. So.
Funkatron's got one.
No, not a question for Daniel. I
Ooh.
appreciate the additional insight. I was just going to say, Jay, it's 2:17 a.m. and I know that there's still more stuff on the AA agenda.
Oh yeah, that's just kind of left over from last week. I didn't really have time to go through that. But there's a few things I did want to point out before we go. One, Joe's proposal to convert a bunch of DOT to stablecoins. So far, we love it, and as we should. We saw some huge stablecoin requests come through the Treasury today on AAG, and obviously increasing our stable reserves is vital if we want to keep the stable Treasury chest alive and going. And so I'm very happy to see this. I also wanted to point out some refs that are confirming right now. We have a deposit dot into parachain child accounts to accelerate opening XEM channels by Spazcoin. This one's confirming. Absolutely glorious, 100%. Only a single nay against. But this is Spazcoin's initiative going quite well. Congratulations to him. Joe also back to fix and add asset rates. I don't know what this is something to do with something with possibly dead, being able to spend dead, something like this. Is this correct, Limo?
Yeah, so for example, really quick, like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So each track can spend a certain amount of dot, right? But
Yes.
the chain itself doesn't know what other assets are worth. So right now, dot is worth 10, USDT is worth 1, and then dead will be worth something else. So then the chain will understand how much dead it can spend on each track.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because I was kind of wondering that, like we were seeing USD spends on different tracks. I was like, how does the chain even know what that is? But
Yeah, it's
it's
just
a
a
1 to
ratio.
10 kind of.
Yeah, yeah. So eventually, at some point, probably we need to adjust those. Yeah.
Hopefully we have to adjust those. Great. And then here, this was a big one from a few weeks ago, but closing Bounty 46, the AMI bounty program. Adam's still fishing as his bounty looks like it's going to be closed in the next 7 days unless they can turn it around. But how far would they have to turn it around? This is such a low turnout. Actually, to be honest, do DVs have access to the treasure track?
Yeah, the do.
So a bunch of DVs could come in here and save this. It's not over yet. But we will know by next week, I suppose. So that's the story there. It is a bit late. I think we could end the show and perhaps talk more on Monday. We'll still be live from Bali on Monday, so I'm looking forward to seeing you all then. But yeah, any closing thoughts, Limo? You know, I really missed your voice on this
Yeah.
this episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some great closing thoughts actually. So these grifters at Chaos Style, right? I can't believe what they've
fuck!
done.
Listen, Limo.
But
Go
honestly,
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So these people, first of all, they grifted 30,000 euros to give people free beer at Polkadot Decoded.
Christ.
And then what they've gone and done now is sent 3,400 out of 4,500 dot they received back to the treasury and invoiced everything transparently. These guys, man, the grift will never stop.
Okay, wait. I'm actually, it's not really computing here. So you got a lot of dot, which you could have pocketed, and anybody else would have, but you decided to return like 75% of it, and then provide transparent receipts for everything you did spend.
Yeah, I know, like in the Polkadot ecosystem, we don't normally provide invoices for events, but we thought we might try something new, see how token holders think about it. So if you liked the invoices, you should like maybe give us some props or something. But yeah, we sent most of the dot back. So more beer at next Decoded, hopefully.
Sounds good. Cool. Thank you for that update. Limo, we appreciate you being here. Funky, Peter, Daniel, Hope, Batman, John, Chris, Money Mantra, James, Carlos. Wow. Lovely to have you all sticking around for all this time. And I want to also thank everybody in the chat for the lively debate and commentary today. We really appreciate it.
All right, back to you, Jay. We appreciate you. It is almost 2:30 in the morning, and you were just plowing through. And you are one of, if not the hardest working dude in the eco. No doubt.
I would hope I'm not the hardest working dude in the eco, to be honest. I mean, I think there are people in charge of very important things that I hope are working as hard. But yeah, you know what? I had a great time at the CoinFest today, and the enthusiasm for Mandala and by extension Polkadot is really amazing. We were firing on all cylinders at the booth today. You know what the trick was? I don't know what the temperature was, but I gotta say it's probably close to 40. I don't know, 38 or something like that. The trick is give away ice cold sparkling water in exchange for listening to us talk about Mandala and Polkadot, and damn, that went really well. That went really well. So we're gonna do it again tomorrow. I gotta fit in the news pump tomorrow as well, and yeah, I don't exactly know what's coming this weekend, but I'm sure it's gonna be great, guys. We'll see you all soon. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks, man. Keep it up.
Keep grifting.